Hello and thank you for joining me. I'm Heather Forgan of stampwithnellie.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the UK. Today I'm taking part in the Stamp Around the UK video hop, so there will be a list of everyone else taking part in this hop in the description. Please do click on that and hop round and get lots more inspiration. Our theme for this month is black and white with a pop of colour. So my pop of colour is going to be Timid Tiger. I haven't entirely decided yet, but I think I will use a piece of ribbon. Certainly a little bit of stamping and definitely using Stampin' Blends. Also using this Jar of Joy stamp set and the Sweet Jar Builder Punch. Both of these are online exclusive products that you can purchase right now. So I'm also going to be using some designer series paper that is an online exclusive that will be launched and available on the 3rd of September. This video is going out on the 1st. So this designer series paper is mainly black and white and gold. So I'm going to be using a little bit of these two designs, but there's lots more gold in the paper there, and I can't remember what it's called. And the label's over here somewhere. There we go. Modern Christmas. So 12 by 12. Love the gold accents on this paper. But today I'm not using the gold. I am just going to be using black and white. Just quickly to show you the other side. Love that as well. Maybe I should have used a bit of that. But yeah, stunning. Gorgeous paper. I'm guessing you might see some other people using that as well. Okay, right. Bring in my, I've already mounted my stamps, but I'm going to quickly show you how I do that. I keep this template in my stamp set for Jar of Joy. I've got one in the Sweet Jar stamp as well. And what I do is I put my stamps in to those pieces there, and then I put my block down and pick them up. That way I know when I stamp that it's going to line up with the punch and punch out both of those bits at the same time. Today I'm going to be using Versamark to do some heat embossing. So I'm just going to ink that up. And then stamp that down there, but I've forgotten to do my embossing buddy bit. Found one. So this just helps to take off any static and any fingerprints, greasy marks on your card. And then when you stamp with your Versamark, that's a nice sticky ink, and your embossing powder will stick to that, but not to any sticky bits on your card. So I've just got a piece of scrap paper here, and I'm still using the old Stampin' Up emboss powder rather than the current Wow, but only because I've got lots of it left. Just pop that in there for now. I'm going to come back in, but I'm going to also stamp these little bobbles. Now, when I did this the first time around, just having a little play, I heat set the first lot before I did this. So we'll see how this goes. Just so that you don't have to listen to me heat emboss twice and just do it all in a winner. That looks good. Gentle blow, see if there's any loose bits there. I've got a tiny little fine paintbrush that I can dab, give a little, oh dear, that wasn't gentle enough of a blow. I think that looks good enough. Good enough. Pop that back in there, and that's why I've got so much of that left, because you don't use very much. And I do love heat embossing, but it's not a technique I use all the time either. All right, so just going to switch on my heat tool, let it heat up, and then I will heat that and set it. So I'll put you on mute. So you may have noticed that I put the heat tool to the back of my card to start off with, and that's just so that it's not blowing about the powder. And oh dear, should have checked that first. I clearly missed that corner there. I'm going to carry on as if it was there. In fact, what I'll do is I'll stamp that bit again and I'll come back when it's all heat embossed. Okay, where were we? What I should have done before I touched that bit there was check that everything was shiny, and if it was still dull, that means that the powder hasn't set properly. So you heat it again and then check it all again, rather than just putting your finger over it and taking away that powder. So my punch, I will be able to get that in there. Come on. And ignoring the fact that there's a little corner missing, that does line up nicely. So we'll keep that bit and we'll discard that bit, and instead we will use this one. Like that. Okay, so I have my two bits there. I also have a card base, and then I've got a piece of white card that I'm going to put these pieces of designer series paper on. Okay, let me just grab my glue. Now, if you're feeling brave, you can just put these pieces of designer series paper straight on to your card base. So my card base, when folded, measures 10.5 by 14.5. So these pieces are 2 centimeters by 14. I've got two of those, and then this piece is 6 centimeters by 14. So that all adds up to 10 by 14. So as I say, you can either add them straight onto there, and then that takes a little bit of weight off your card and saves you a piece of card. But if you're not feeling that brave, then simply cut a piece of card to measure 10 by 14 centimeters, and then add these on, and they should cover this completely. And if you use wet glue, you can slide that up there and make sure that it's in place, not overhanging, and press that down. Then your next piece, glue on that, slide that up to mat, beside that, and then just double check that it's where you want it to be. That was too far over. There we go, like that. So yes, it does use a bit more of your supplies. You could even use just a piece of copier paper rather than card. I must admit I tend to use just a piece of cheap card and save my Stampin' Up basic white card for actually stamping on. So I'm going to layer that on there now. And that was a bit easier, wasn't it? Right, now I'm going to add my pop of colour on here. Definitely 2 ways, possibly 3 ways I'm going to do that. I'm going to use my Stampin' Blends to colour in these Christmas ornaments. So just add that little bit of colour on to there. So I'm using a mix of light and dark. That's the dark. I'm going to put dark at the bottom of this one. Like so. And then we'll use light on this one. On the outside. This one at the top. And those little hearts. So I've definitely got a pop of colour there. I'm also going to use that to just colour in this lid. Okay, now I love this, but there's one little thing that I'm not totally happy with. I would prefer that to be a little bit closer. So I am going to cut just along like that. Okay. So I've got my pop of colour. I'm also going to be using, I will add some bling, obviously, the Greetings for All Mix and Match Ephemera, and I've already sorted out that I'm taking that Merry Christmas on there. And this is where I think I might add in a little bit of ribbon underneath it. Yeah, let's do that. So I have to cut that at a similar angle, like that, and that can go right along there. So I'm going to pop this up with dimensionals, and I'm going to grab a little bit of tearing tape as well. So a little bit of tearing tape, pop that in the middle there, take the backing off, and then I can put my ribbon on there when I'm happy where I've got it. Press that down. Dimensionals on the back of this, they don't stick particularly well to ribbon, so I'm going to try and put them along the top edge. And just along the bottom there, so that they can grab onto the paper rather than just the ribbon. if the backing wants to come off. There we go. And that, coincidentally, is such a nice fit over there. I am going to add a tiny little bit of glue on that edge. And pop my lid on, like so. And then I'm going to pop that up with dimensionals as well. So I will make sure that I've got a little bit of on the lid as well as on the actual jar. Along the top there, put one in the middle. Let's splurge on the dimensionals. All the backings off, and little tip from my friend Verity at Inky Butterfly, add a little bit of glue on the back there, and then if you're not happy where you've got it, it's easier to take it up and put it back down again. There we go, just a little bit of bling. I take your pick tool here, and I'll go one of each size. Down like that. And we have black and white with a pop of colour. Please do remember to click on the description for this video to look at the list of the other UK-based demonstrators taking part in this hop, and check out all of their black and white with a pop of colour projects. Thanks for watching. Until the next time, take care. Bye bye.